Welcome back, viewers at home. Now, through various initiatives such as Happy Homework Helpers Program, the Spelling Bee competition, and events like International Day of the Boy Child and 67 Minutes for Mandela Day, the Yenzakahle Foundation is actively working to uplift and support the youth in eSikhawini community, and they do this by tackling critical issues that affect young people, particularly in education as well as youth empowerment. Joining me tonight is actually the founder, who goes by the name of Nonjabulo Robin Sibisi, who is going to be taking us through the key programs of the foundation as well as some of the rooting cause as to why Yenzakahle even exists. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us, Nonjabulo.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity on behalf of my organization and myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, just to get started with our conversation, I would like to ask, what inspired the Yenzakahle Foundation's creation, and how does its mission aim to leave a lasting legacy when it comes to how it serves its community?
Yenzakahle Foundation started in the year 2021 after I completed my postgraduate certificate in education, in which I majored in business studies and economics. So after that, I was a qualified teacher after doing my BCom degree, and unfortunately was not employed for a good, quite some time. So with that, I'd have my community, the parents would bring their kids to me, asking me to assist them with their homework. And I found that some of the children that came to me had some challenges, which were very bothering to me. With that, I started calling other fellow educators that I had graduated with to come through to the program. And, we started hosting tutoring sessions, which were called Happy Homework Helpers. And today we've been at it for a good 3 years. Happy Homework Helpers has volunteers, which are qualified teachers that have also been at home with, unfortunately, not being able to being employed. Mm-hmm. So the program has had a great impact in terms of the lives that we live in. And the plan is, honestly, to extend it to have our own center and be able to have a remedial center which will cater to the kids that we have that are facing challenges in the educational space.
Now, before we continue with our conversation, Nonjabulo, I think I want to do a bit of community work and just urge our community members who are watching all the way from Durban, it is officially time for you to have your iftar, but please follow the adhan of your local masjid. But don't forget us in your du'as at that. Nonjabulo, back to our lovely conversation. We were speaking about serving communities and uplifting communities. I believe there must be some emotional as well as psychological, challenges that are faced by these young individuals. How do you go about, addressing them through the initiatives that are provided by the foundation itself?
Okay, so the community that we are in are facing a high unemployment rate. We have a lot of drug abuse, emotional abuse. So we've started, obviously, the Happy Homework Helper, which is assisting unemployed educators to get a form of employment. The drug abuse, we have initiatives that we run in terms of her empowerment, which is a women's support group, which is designed specifically for women in our community who are unemployed, single parents, which is creating a space where women can come together, where we can exchange forms of how we can empower each other, how you can actually better your CV by us having a HR person that's going to come in and advise us on certain things. So that's how we're trying to help the community at large, is by hosting such programs as our Happy Homework Helpers, Her Empowerment. We also have a number of programs that we have, like our 67 Minutes, where we assist the youth that are in matric by getting donations to help them apply for their CAO applications. It's a lot. It's crazy.
It's definitely a lot, and I think it's positive a lot, because it means that everybody is getting that chance of being attached to an opportunity of some kind. But just for clarity and understanding for myself and viewers at home, what would you say are the main initiatives of the Yenzakahle Foundation?
Our main initiatives would be our Happy Homework Helpers, where we assist learners from grade 1 to 9 with homeworks every Monday to Thursday from 3 to 5:30. We also have our annual spelling bee competition, which has been a mind-blowing experience. This is our third year running. We've started the annual spelling bee in line with International Day of World Book Day, World Book Day, which promotes reading and writing. So we decided that as an initiative, what we could do is host an annual spelling bee where we alternate between high school learners and primary school. This year, we'll be having primary school learners join us for this. It's on the 17th of April, 2025, in our local community hall here. We also have our International Day of the Boy Child, which is another exciting initiative that we started last year. We invited 15 boys aged from 10 to 15 years, where we come together, teach them a skill, and encourage them also to talk about the emotions, because boys, men specifically, have this whole thing where in isiZulu, indoda ayikhali, which means a man doesn't cry, and we're all human. We're all going through a lot, and we are encouraging young boys to be in touch with their emotional intelligence. So this year also we'll be having that program where this year we'll be talking about self-discipline. We'll have a karate session, and one of our partnering NPOs that's going to come in and teach them also about being able to express yourself, and also promoting entrepreneurship. I mean, we're living in a world right now where we have such a high unemployment rate in terms of our youth, and we want to instill the culture of entrepreneurship at a very young age, and that's one thing that we're going to be doing with the International Day of the Boy Child this year. We also have our initiative where you donate a matric dance dress to a child that's less fortunate. So that we're encouraging and asking the community at large to come in with the clothes that they dearly love and one child could use if they can't afford to go to a matric dance. So we've worked highly with a lot of local salons, and a lot of community members have come out with this initiative and came through and assisted us. We also have World Read Aloud Day, which promotes reading, and that's something that our kids at our center enjoy thoroughly whenever we do that. We had our Human Rights Day initiative where we had a dialogue in line with Human Rights Day and collaborated with a lot of stakeholders. We had our 1KZN TV, which was giving us exposure. KZN EDT, there were so many sponsors, Hollywood Beds, the university, our local university came through for us. It was a success. So Yenzakahle Foundation has a lot of initiatives, and you can also check out all of our great work on our social media platforms because we are available there.
Speaking on the lot of great work you are doing, I'm just going to take a pick randomly of two initiatives, and I think there's more that I'm going to be picking on just to give an understanding and a feel to our viewers and myself in getting to understand Yenzakahle Foundation, is looking at happy homework helpers. I know, as much as we talk about unemployment, in South Africa, many parents are employed. However, they don't have the ability to sit down and help the child with homework, because by the time they get home, the child is getting ready for bed, you understand? So I just want to understand, what would you say were some of the responses from the learners themselves as well as the parents when it comes to Happy Homework Helpers program, and also just touching on World Read Aloud Day and Youth Day Career Guidance? What are these, how are these initiatives helping to shape these young minds?
Honestly, we've had such a great response in terms of Happy Homework Helpers. The parents are happy with the progress that their kids are making. I actually had a parent last week giving me a feedback about how her grade 6 learner has not been passing maths, and she just joined us this year, and she passed maths the first time with flying colors. So Happy Homework Helpers has been a great contribution in terms of the kids getting time to be in touch with their books. So them having study time with us because we have them for 2.5 hours. It has also helped them in terms of, because we give them like a task where you have unprepared orals, unprepared reading.
Wow.
We're trying to boost their self-esteem and confidence in terms of their studies. We also spoke about World Read Aloud Day. World Read Aloud Day is one of great initiatives where we also promote reading for the kids, reading in front of the classroom, which is encouraging their self-esteem and also encouraging them to read the language of their choice. So we are mostly English and Zulu based, so we will encourage our home language being Zulu, and then English, which is the medium of communication. We also have, we also touched on, I think, human rights, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You know, I think we lost Nonjabulo for a little bit there, but I believe you're still with us. Yes, Nonjabulo?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very loud and clear. Nonjabulo, just to close off our conversation, I mean, your work you're doing is very remarkable and quite commendable in that sense. I mean, we saw scary highlights from, you know, news bulletins saying kids can't read for meaning, and seeing the beautiful initiatives that you are bringing in communities. Just looking at the future, I see you're headed for the galaxies, but I want to hear it from you. Where to from here?
Where to from here? It's our own remedial center. We are in Zululand, and there are a limited remedial centers here, and that's one thing that Yenzakahle Foundation is trying to or headed to. We'd like to open up a remedial center that will cater to all the kids' needs that we have. And as I said, we do have kids that have challenges, and we are assisting them where we appropriately can, and getting the appropriate advice that we need in how to channel all of the issues. And that's one thing that we, what you just said is that there's a high problem with kids being unable to read or write, and that is a huge problem. So Yenzakahle Foundation would like to have its own remedial center where we know that we cater to these kind of kids and try to tackle all of these issues. We also would like to start our own feeding scheme, because our kids come in the afternoons and they're quite hungry. So getting sponsorship where we know that our kids can have a sandwich every afternoon, because that's one thing that we're trying to implement, is having them a sandwich. You know, getting assistance in terms of you know, transportation for our kids, because we're living in a community where some parents can't afford, and we can't expect a child that's living far away to come and walk to us, you know, because we're only just one center at the moment. So there's a lot of assistance and a lot of great plans that we have in line for the kids that we are serving in our community. And I think the biggest thing is that I advocate for is the fact that I have a family member who's autistic. So I would love for our center to start catering for such, you know, creating employment for autistic individuals or individuals with any kind of disability, because they are part of our community, and for us, they matter. So the homework center, remedial center, is one of our biggest projects that we want to implement, and we'd appreciate assistance also in terms of getting a container class, because currently we are using a school that's offered its services facilities to us. So we'd like to run a program where we can have a relationship with schools where they allow certain kids that they feel like have issues, they come during school hours to us, and then we host them at our remedial center, even if it's just container classes at the moment, you know, because the dream and vision is beyond.
Beyond,
I don't know.
Beyond,
yeah.
indeed. Nonjabulo, we're wishing you nothing short of the best, because we understand that umsebenzi weYenzakahle Foundation is speaking to the many communities, and it's going to be uplifting them for generations to come. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. We really, really appreciate this.
Viewers at home, that was the founder of Yenzakahle Foundation, ngoba uyenza umsebenzi omuhle ngempela. But